I'm from Minnesota, and I couldn't wait to leave Minnesota to go to New York. So I ended up spending all of the 80s in New York doing theater. Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. And of course, then after 8 years, I got sick of New York, and I said, I need some more of Minnesota. So I happened to be at someone's home, and I said, I'm going to Minnesota. I've got to get back near my family, but I don't really know what I'm going to do. And she said, I know a woman who works for Prince. And so I said, you got to be kidding. And it was Helen Hyatt, and she was the wardrobe supervisor at the time and designer. And so I called her. They happened to need a pattern maker, and we happened to know some of the people in New York, and so I was hired sight unseen. I was headed to Minnesota with a job at Paisley Park. And then later I transitioned to be his designer, but initially I went in as a pattern maker.
Hi guys.
Hi, Kim.
And I was fortunate enough to be dating the bodyguard at the time. And,
Remember that, ladies.
Sometimes it ain't what you know, it's who you know, okay? And but yeah, he introduced me to Tanya, who was his hairstylist at the time. And she had just been saying, you know, I'm tired, I don't want to live out of a suitcase anymore, I'm ready to go home. And I was like, you ready to go home? You got the best job in the world. She's like, Kim, it's not what you think. And I'm 17 years old, you know, fresh out of beauty school. And I'm like, I think you work for the biggest entertainer in the world. She's like, Kim, it's not what you think. And so my mom used to tell me growing up, you know, life and death is in the power of the tongue. And so sure enough, her and Prince got into a little disagreement. And she quit, packed her bags, and, you know, Prince being Prince, you know, he's used to talking crazy to people, and the next day you're going to be there. And he said, tell Tanya, get the salon ready. And they were like, no, Tanya quit. And he was like, what do you mean Tanya quit? So you got me out here without a hairstylist? They were like, yeah. So the bodyguard was like, hey, look, we're going to be at this club, and meet us at the club. So I was like, okay, met him at the club with my portfolio, walked over to the table, and he looking at me like, who is this walking over to my table? You know, so I laid my book on the table. I said, look, my name is Kim Berry. I said, you don't have a hairstylist? I said, I'm ready. And he said, you got a salon? I said, yeah. He said, go set it up. So I go set the salon up, and about an hour later, I get a phone call. He said, Kim, this is Prince. I'm like, and he says, yeah, I'm not going to be able to make it. I was like, oh. I was like, okay, well, you know, next time you come to LA, just know you got a hairstylist. He said, well, do you travel? And I'm like, now mind you, I'm a kid. I'm like, yeah. And I was like, what did I just say? And he said, okay, well, the car's coming to pick you up. The flight leaves in an hour. And I said, okay. He said, is there a problem? No problem. So I called my mother. I'm like, I just talked to Prince. She like, quit playing. I'm like, no, really, I just talked to Prince. And I was like, she said, so what's gonna happen? I said, he said, get your stuff ready and be ready in an hour. I was like, I don't have no clothes. I don't have that. She said, you better take your curling irons and your hairspray and get to LAX. And sure enough, that's what I did. And got there and did his brother's hair and 4 young ladies that were there on the premises with us, and hooked them up. So I said, okay, I get it. I know this is the audition. And so I was like, so I'm waiting for him to come in. Never did. His brother said, hold on, I'll be back in a minute. 1 hour goes by, 2 hours go by. I'm in this room. I can see, you know, the Purple Rain jacket. I'm like, I see, you know, they getting ready for some stuff. I'm looking around the room. My mother said, she ain't raised no food. You sit in somebody else's house, you don't touch nothing that don't belong to you. So first thing his brother said when he came back in the room, you didn't steal nothing, did you? I said, my mama ain't raised no fools. I said, but I gotta go to the bathroom. You play too much. I said, and so he said, oh, okay, come on. So he said, no, for real, he coming in now. So about 10 minutes later, sure enough, Prince stuck his head in the door. He said, yeah, you got the job. He said, but you got to leave them nails at home. I'm tender-headed. You can't have that in my head. I had long, curved fingernails. I was like 87, SWV day. I was like, click, 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 click. And he just started laughing. He said, oh, okay. He said, you're funny. He said, okay, go back to the hotel. We're going to Miami in the morning. And I've been with him ever since.
Karen Lee told me the story at the back end of when Tanya quit and all that. Remember? It was so funny. It was just crazy. From the other perspective of her being a publicist and him not having a hairdresser at the time. And he's like, what do you mean? You know, she said she quit. So it's so crazy. Well, mine was a little different. I was friends with the band, Mike Scott, and different people, and I lived in Minneapolis. I moved from Michigan, and I was doing bookings at a club called Biscuits and Blues in Minneapolis at the time. A friend of mine owned it, and Danny Glover, and so we were booking Etta James and Sugar Blue and all these people. And so one day, Mike Scott calls me up, "Girly girl, there's an opening at Paisley." I was like, "Yeah, really? What is it exactly?" And seriously, too. And because I had a gig, right? And he says, "Well, it's you'd be in the 800 New Funk doing, working on the merchandise and things like that." I said, "Well, I don't know." He says, "Well, call me back." And so I call my mother. Gotta call the mom. And I call her, and she has this. She listens to my whole thing. "Well, I don't know. I really, And she's like, silence. "Mom? Yeah, well, maybe you should go, just check it out." So I said, okay, and I called Mike back and I said, "I'll do the interview." So he says, "Okay, I'll hook it up on Monday." So he calls me on Monday. He says, "Girl, you got the gig." So I was like, what am I going to do? I'm going to say no to that. So I went out and I started working at 800 New Funk and and under Maite, and about 3 months later, she comes in and she looked a little just, like upset and I said, "What's wrong?" And she says, "Well, we're trying to get in touch with Sugar Blue. And no one knows his number." I said, "Oh, I have it." She looked at me and she went, "What? You have Sugar Blue's number?" I said, "Yeah, I just booked him 6 months ago at the club." So I went in my, at the time, Rolodex and found it. After that, she come in. "My husband was wondering if he could sample your voice for 1-800 New Funk on Face Down." And I was like, yeah. "Well, you have to sign some paperwork and stuff." I said, all right, no problem there. And so it just kind of grew from there. I went and did MPG Dance Company with Maite. I got asked to manage that and put that together and did that. And then after that was finished, she did 3 shows, and then he asked me to go to his tour, and then I did all his merchandising for his tour, and then it led to, really managing Paisley, helping, because there's a group, we all did, we pitched in, and then MPG Records, he didn't like titles. He called me that when he wanted, "Aren't you the president of MPG Records?" So I was like,
that's when you wanted to get out of something.
Right. But I did get a business card with MPG Records. So we did, during that time was, and I'm going to say this and you guys are going to groan, but it was Crystal Ball.
No, that's good.
I love Crystal Ball, but it was the distribution part. You guys are happy now, but it was not happy then. Trust me, I was getting the calls. So anyway, but it was really innovative. That was an innovative time for him. We did not have a distributor at that time. People really discount that time a lot, but he was being so innovative in the thought process of how to get your music out to you guys and to everybody. And so when I was there, we had no distributor. I literally called Target, Best Buy, myself, and we drop ship from the manufacturer to them. Seriously. So it was New Power Soul, Come to My House, GCS 2000 we did, 1999 Master, a few other things, and then we did Ray. I was with him during Ray Munches to Joy Fantastic too, during that time. So that was my kind of growth, I guess.
Yeah, good.
Mine was totally different. I met Prince. I was a musician first, and I played with Andre Simone's brothers, and so Prince used to come and see us perform, so he knew me already. Years later, I went to film school, graduated as a director, became an assistant director. I got called to do Purple Rain, the movie, so I came back to Minneapolis and did that film. So after that film, we got, Prince and I, because we knew each other, we sort of got along, and I say that because he is always judging people and fills them out when they first get together. Then what happened was I went back to New York, started working on other movies, and he called me and said, "I'd really like for you to come and work with me as a road manager for Purple Rain Tour." And I said, "No," and hung up. And then he called me again a month later and says, "We're getting ready to do this tour. You should come and do this it would be great. And I said, no, and hung up. And he called me back like 3 days before Thanksgiving, which if you don't know is a big holiday in America. It was just on Thursday, so he called me on the Monday, and this time, it's like he called me and he said, really, I want you to do this. And I said, I had just finished the feature, and so I said, okay. I said, I'll be there right after Thanksgiving. He said, no, you'll be here tomorrow, and hung up the phone on me. And so I was with him for, almost a decade after that.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, well done.
He's being very honest on that decade.
Yeah.
So I want to just really talk about one of the issues that I know that a lot of people don't understand or think they understand. It's really Prince's work ethic and how he really works with people. I mean, he's not a slave driver. Trust me, he is not a slave driver. He was never really evil or mean to you. He sometimes was cruel and insensitive to you and your needs, but he did this because he chose people and he selected them based on their personalities and whatever he saw. And he was almost a Svengali type of person, but he also was very, very clairvoyant. Where do you want to be, and who are you, and how much can you actually put up with? And you will not be the same person when you're done with me than you were when you came. So I want you to talk a little bit about what you got out of the experience with him over the period of time.
He would tell you what he wanted. If there was something really, really specific, he would come in, talk to you about it, and then leave. And then wait until it was done. Usually, if I didn't hear from him, that meant that he was happy. If I did hear from him, it was usually something was wrong with the piece, or he wanted to change it, or he was happy and he wanted to order more colors. So he was very, very engaged. He would write notes. He would talk to me about what to change, little things that I could do to make something better. So it was fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I used to tell everybody, nobody on the tour, working behind the purple curtain had one job. So it was like, okay, well, what do you do and what do you do? Okay, she can do that job. Okay, what do you do and what do you do? Okay, you can go home, she can do that job. Oh, okay, well, wait a minute. I was like, so I remember one time I got, talked about real bad because the fan wasn't pointing in his face on the stage. And I said, well, wait, because I'm almost sure my license says cosmetology on it. I said, but okay. So I went outside immediately and was like, who runs the fans? And so I went to the fans and ripped him a new one, and you better believe we never had the fan conversation no more. So he used to tell us all, like, Kim, if you see something need to be done, just get in where you fit in. Really? Oh, okay, because I see these people doing some pretty impressive stuff. So I was like, I don't know about that. Like, you guys seen the famous picture with, I call them buckwheat braids, but in the middle of our photo shoot that he decides, I want my hair braided. And I'm like, you want your hair braided? And he was like, yeah, my cousin used to wear hair braided. I want my hair braided. I was like, okay, so I'm going to break it down because I had braids in my hair that day. And I was like, in a neat little part, no, just pick it up and braid it. So now, once again, we know that he's tender-headed, so he don't want me doing no extra pulling on his hair. So I was like, oh, okay. So now we throw these big plaits in, and time is of the essence. So he said, we should take a picture with you doing my hair and let Steve take the picture. I was like, okay. And I look up and Steve clicks the picture. And next thing I know, he said, no, I'm just kidding. I was like, oh, so you take the wind off of sails, right? But years later, come to find out, him and Steve were going through the film roll, and he was like, when'd you take that? And Steve was like, I took it the day you said you should take a picture. And so he said, you want me to erase it? And he was like, nah, you can keep it. I said, oh, bless his heart. Now it's all over the world. But I remember running upstairs into Stacia's office, and I'm like, he said he wants ribbons. They like ribbons, and I'm like, he wants ribbons for every color outfit he's gonna wear from now on. They were like, what? And I was like, man, ain't no telling with this man. You just, if he asks for a camel, you just go get a camel. You understand? And so, it was just an amazing thing. Like, he knew you was gonna rise to the occasion. You didn't tell him no, and even if you told him no, you still found a way to go make it happen anyway. So it was just a beautiful experience. But like Craig said, if he knew that you could handle it. He knew that you was going to rise to the occasion and, Kim, get it done. If you can't get it done, find somebody else next to you who can get it done. So don't come back to me without it done. I'm like, all right then, boss, here we go.
I
never went and said, no, you can't do something.
Sure.
You tried. And sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. And he didn't really get mad at you for it not working, really, but you tried. He would be so upset if you said, I can't do that. I can't. This is too, it just isn't in his can. And for me, his manifestation of his life really affected me on how I look and vision my life. That's how he affected me moving forward in whatever I wanted to do after I left. And, he had pushed me to do things I didn't even know I could do. Like when we first did the Come On video. It was just crazy. I hadn't done any editing. I had, a musician as a drummer, so I had some timing and I understood look and everything, and we were just having fun. But after the show, there was a 12-camera shoot we did, and we got all of the, I remember sitting, I think in the red room with him after the show was done, and I had to wait to get all of the footage because I had to fly to California the next day to start cutting for the Channel 4. I don't know, did anybody guys see the Channel 4 show?
Yeah.
The whole day, so that was all put together, and then it culminated with this Cafe Perry video. So but he owned all the footage, which was really amazing, right? You never own TV Channel 4's footage. He owned it, and we had to edit it. So that's the really cool thing. So I flew to LA, I'm in the editing bay, ready. I remember that rock, paper, scissors, I know you remember that? So it was the top, at the time, fire sweep, because rendering was so slow and everything, so we were doing that. And so he calls me, he says, Jacqui, I'm tired. I was like, did he say tired? He says, you start cutting the concert, and I'll come in a couple days. I said, what? I didn't say that to him, but inside, right? I was like, okay, I'm doing like some deals with MTV, VH1. I'm not here to like edit a concert, but I just, there you go, pushed me. So I started working on it and cutting it for 2 days, and I was so nervous when he walked in at the editing bay to look at it, right? Because he's Prince. And so I sit there and I'm in the couch and he's up by the editor, and he says, okay, push play. And he starts looking at it, and he just starts going, go one frame back, take that forward, and just getting into just what I had cut, just more deep. And it was really interesting. And so after that, we went in and we cut Come On in the same suite in another room, and we took some of the footage from the Cafe Perry. And the Come On video was supposed to be fun. He had me shooting all tour long beta SP intentionally, so it wasn't even the high res stuff that you normally did. He didn't tell me he was coming as an old man. We didn't have permits at the park. We just showed up and, it was totally guerrilla style. And we just shot all this stuff, and then we just had this footage, and we went into this there, and we just cut this Come On video it was just such a fun start. But that got me started doing, videos and pushing me further. So, and I ended up doing Stanconia's, EBK, and all these different things for Arista. But that's the type of stuff, when you leave, he pushes you so far, you don't even know what you're talented in until you try. He pushed you in a whole different direction than you might have thought you would be. So that's pretty amazing.
I just want to talk about those butterflies in that man's head. Like I said, guerrilla style. Like he was like, Kim, I need some butterflies. To do what with? He was like, just give me some butterflies. I want to put them in my hair. I was like, oh, okay. So now we're running all over Hollywood looking for butterflies. So I'm like, this is not happening. So literally, me and my girlfriend are in the car with a glue gun, butterflies, cooking up barrettes, and making butterflies for Prince. I'm like, oh my God, Steve Parks has a picture of him with the orange butterflies in the back of his head in his book too. And I'm like, every time I see it, I'm like, damn butterflies. I was like, oh my God. But what got me was the first night when he jumped in the audience, and I'm going, and then I see the ladies taking the butterflies out of his hair. I'm like, put it back. I'm too hard for the butterflies. But at the end of the night, at every concert, he would just fly the butterflies out into the audience, and them women would go crazy. And I'm like, I can't believe he just gave away my butterflies. I said, every night I'll be backstage. putting more together like this, man. I was like, well, yeah, it was just an interesting thing. Like, he was like, I think I'm going to need a beard. I said, a beard? Like, what? And so we had, so when she said gorilla style, I was like, well, he was like, I need to look like an old man. I was like, oh, Lord, okay. So we had to get him a beard and glue his little face on and everything, boy. So it was just put together real quick. And I mean, next thing I know, it's a full-blown video. That's what I was telling Jacqui in the back. I was like, I didn't remember seeing all of this. Like, and just seeing it all put together because you see it in bits and pieces. But then when you finally see it, everything together, I'm like, dang, we got down. So that was just an awesome experience being with that man.
So we're going to take some time here. If people have some questions, you really need to raise your hand high.
Can I have some house lights?
Yeah, we got somebody right here.
I do. One question for all three. So I'm sorry, I don't know your names, but you were speaking earlier on, and you said about his work ethic. And when you said work ethic, your eyes like closed, like intense. Like you were talking about. I'd like to know more about how you feel about his work ethic. Can I ask all three one day, and then you guys can give it? So work ethic. I'll be interested in work ethic for yourself. And then Prince has so many hairstyles, and you are a very funny person. You're very, but it couldn't have all been that funny. I'd like to know about your most difficult. I'd like to know about your most challenging time. Because you have a great sense of humour, and I'd like about your most challenging time with Prince. And for me, I got into Prince when everyone was falling out of love with Prince. When he started scrawling over his face and sending stuff independently. That's when you came in, and I'd like to hear more about your challenge about selling work without distribution.
Did we allow 3 questions?
Oh, that was great question.
That costs more merchandise and more.
So in Minnesota, I think we are known for our work ethic in Minnesota. But I think with Prince, I've been reading a lot about Prince, and certain people speculating, but also people who knew his background and feeling as if maybe he had something to prove, right? So there were all these underlying reasons for the work ethic. Like, for example, I had heard that, he wanted to be a basketball player, and then he couldn't be a basketball player, so he was going to prove himself in other ways. And Craig could probably tell you a lot more about that. But all I know is that I was part of the, on the receiving end of his work ethic. So we would be there super late at night. At the time that I was there, we were doing tons and tons of videos, and it was the Diamonds and Pearls era, and the Love Symbol era, and we would work around the clock. And I was happy to do it because to me, it was so exciting. It was more, I had met sort of like theater stars and things like that, but I sort of felt like with Prince, it was absolutely something, I hate to use the word magical, but it was something that I would never ever see again and never experience again. And I said, I'm just in, whatever I need to do, I'm gonna do it. So you just do what you have to do and try not to complain and have fun.
Yeah, it's important.
And well, I just explained just impromptu, last minute, always, Kim go get this, Kim go get that. So Kim, I want to look like this. And I was thinking about the one show, I forgot what that was, but he was like, I need a punk rock wig and get my roller skates out the case. And I said, what? Now, what we finna do? I need a beard and a punk rock wig. And so we got this wig and put this straight wig on him. And he came out on stage with his roller skates on and these Ziggy glasses that were pointed up in the air. Oh my God, with this fake beard on. And I was like, so nobody's supposed to recognize you? Is that what this is supposed to be? I was like, but that's not gonna happen. They know who you are. So, it would just be one, to me, like, funny. You had to rise to the occasion, whatever he had. Then it was like the Super Bowl. That's what was my other good story I like to tell. When we had just finished hooking his hair up and he was looking great. And next thing you know, it's all day. We're sunny outside, and then it starts pouring down raining in Miami. I'm like, great. He's like, they're not going to make me go outside, are they? I said, yeah, bro, this is live. And he said, oh man. He said, okay, get me a scarf. I said, no scarf. I'm running around the room acting like I'm looking for something, but I'm really hiding. I'm sticking them in the case, in between the middle case. I'm like, no, this hair is whipped. You can't cover up this hair, right? So I was like, let me go outside. Let me go look for one in the car. There's got to be one in the car. So by this time, they got him on the golf cart. They running him across to the field. And he comes up out of the center of the stage, and he got a do-rag on. And I said, oh. I was like, this man. And I said, but he went out there and did that show. And everybody was like, how did he do that? And he didn't have any water on him. I was like, that dude is magic. I said, that's the only dude I know that can dance underwater and not get wet. I was like, I said, but when he finished that show and he took that scarf off and threw it off into the audience, I said, that's show business, baby. That's show business. Yeah, it was just amazing just to work with him, and you know what I'm saying, like you said, every time you would have to rise to the occasion, you would have to make it happen. It was do or die on the spot. That's how he did you, and you had to make it happen, and that's what showed the type of quality of person that you really were. Because if, like he said, if you didn't literally, like if you didn't get fired in his camp, it's like he said you would fire yourself because you couldn't hang with what he asked of you. So the people had, how did you stay around so long? And I just tell them it's the God in me that saw the God in him. And so I just kept it moving, you know, and I had to stay around him. I had to pray with him and pray for him and protect him and you know, and keep it moving. So y'all look forward to the book because it's coming out, y'all. Get ready.
I'm going to make it brief because I know we have maybe a couple more questions and then we'll get to some other fun stuff. But for me, you asked about the time period of when he was without a distributor. It was really, for me, I was so happy to be in that time because I learned so much on how to, from the distribution down in the music industry, you know. And it was tough. Radio stations were not playing his stuff intentionally because we weren't going through a regular distributor. When we were putting out, we didn't have a big budget, so we didn't have a big street team to be able to put our new product up in the shelf when there actually was record stores. And be able to come back in and pop our stuff in back and bring up all the Warner stuff in front. And you can't put, you know, and there's people that aren't going to go through the whole rack, you know, to find out if there's something new. So we had challenges like that, but we did sell a lot of records on our own. And the interesting thing was the record label said that, and the industry really knocked him and said, oh, he wasn't up to par. But with Crystal Ball, we made $11 million on that. And you don't have to sell millions of records to make 1 penny or 2 pennies on the record. Exactly. He made the lion's share and he did it his way. And that's what was exciting for me to be part of that and to work that. So.
I was always putting Warner Brothers back.
Okay, we've got time for one more, well, probably 1 or 2 more questions. Depends if anybody asks 3 questions in a row. Anybody else with a question? Put your hand up. Yeah.
Hello, really quick question. What was your favourite costume that you designed?
Yeah, good question.
Good question.
I don't know if anyone remembers, it was a kind of a scroll, I'll just describe. It was cut work embroidery, and so it was sheer. It was all this scroll work, and it was sheer all the way down. He had asked me to get him a portfolio of Nehru jackets, and I said, okay, I'll do that. But then I thought, I don't want to cover him up. What I loved the most is exposing his incredible physique. Yeah. So what I thought was, why don't I do something sheer? That way I can give him, it can have total coverage, but then you can see through it. And so that's actually my favorite because I think it was one of his favorite too because he ordered it, we did it first in yellow, citron yellow, then he wanted it in white, black, we did it in probably some type of purple. And so I knew when he liked to design that he would order in multiple colors, so that was my favorite.
Good question.
Thank you. Yeah.
You got 1 more. Okay, you got 2 minutes.
Okay. One of the interesting stories that I've heard over the years is that around the rain time, that Prince bleached his hair white. Yeah. and that one of the reasons that when Raspberry Ray came out, and he had the last name kind of thing, was that he was just growing it out. Are these things true or untrue?
Yeah, that was under the watchful eye of Earl, and yeah, that wasn't that. I came after that. So thank goodness. But yeah, he did have a little bit of a meltdown. Too much chemicals on his hair at that time. But it had a breakage, and so they had to go in and color it dark. And then when it Raspberry Ray, that I got the notes on that they had to cut it short. And so, but that shortcut looked hot on him, didn't he? He rocked it out. Yeah, but so that's why you can always turn a bad thing into a good thing. That's the secret between you and your hairstylist, And so, but yeah, so it's always a good thing. And like I said, it's never a dull moment being backstage with that band and making it happen. So. Yep.
Because I was on part of what happened because we didn't actually finish the tour. We were supposed to come to England on that tour. We were supposed to come to Europe. He got tired of, which is the most entertaining. He got tired of doing Purple Rain. He got tired of that because we had done it years before. I mean, it wasn't just the movie, and then it was the movie, and then it was everything after the movie. He wanted to change, and so when this hair thing, he decided to dye his hair blonde, which it's not out of line. And he even tried to change his clothes. He wanted to wear flats, and he got into low, and he cannot not wear flats. He cannot. I mean, it's strange because I'd say, you look like Poindexter. Oh my God! So he was trying something, but that's what he did all the time. Everything was about trying. I mean, he tried things that didn't work. He tried, and I think he encouraged all of us to try things that we may not think were going to work, and then maybe they did or didn't, but we tried. He pushed everybody, not just the art creative people who are up here, but really everybody, from the technicians and the engineers. And I know we're trying to do something here with Abbey Road's coming up here in the fall. It's a little bit more about the production and the recording and kind of the musical aspects of his career. But that's what he did with everybody. He pushed you beyond what you thought that you could do, what you thought was proper, what you thought was supposed to be. Don't ever tell him that's the way it's supposed to be done. He didn't want to hear that word at all. So that was kind of his personality. So we have time for one more question by somebody. Right there, a quick question, and we'll move on. I didn't. It's run out of battery.
We don't have time. Just yell.
Can you
Just
yell?
Yell it. Yell it out loud. No, just yell.
Here you go. Here.
Oh, thanks, Greg. This is kind of for Craig and for Jacqui. When Paisley Park opened, obviously the idea was to have it as a commercial facility, and you had Fine Young Cannibals and Lisa Fiorillo, and all these people coming in from other labels working there, and part of your job was to do the video promos and get the word out for people to book it, and that stopped happening. Why?
Okay, that's Jacqui question. No, you're right. Exactly. That was how we built Paisley Park, and we called it this stealth creative bomber. We were going to be, everything was contained. We had 60,000 square feet, sound stages. I was telling the people at Abbey Road, I should say, every room in Paisley Park you could record in, including the bathrooms. It was an amazing facility. And we had the wardrobe, and we had offices there that actually other people worked. We even had a company that did children's records in there. The transition for him, Prince, has got a short attention span, and I think he's decided to move on. He wanted the place to be more his own, as opposed to everybody from REM recorded their book records there. He just wanted to be more his thing, and he didn't. Production people would come, and Jeff Beck was there for a long time. I mean, he just got tired of it all. It was like I said this to him. It's like, you can't live in your house and have people come in and be comfortable. So that kind of changed it. Then when I left, and Jacqui came in.
Yeah, he would teeter back and forth with it being his house. I'll go off of that because at one point he said, let's open up the soundstage up again for commercial use, and we started to do that, and then it was like, who's that person? No. And so it became, his home again, and Craig, you're right. It was his home, and he teetered because it was a big facility, and I think there was times where he felt like it could be used for more energy and more music from different, or film or TV or whatever. But at the end of the day, he wanted to be able to go home.
Yeah.
And if he wanted to get in Studio A, he didn't want to have it booked and told he can't go in there.
Yeah.
It wasn't working at that point, so we really made it just private and more home at that point, wasn't it? Yeah, it was always. Who is that over there?
Who is that? Your lighting director.
Me walking around Houston with the jam was like, why are these people in my house? I said, this is the studio. They just rented the studio. You can't kick them out. Like, and then he had, he didn't. Smoking was a huge thing, and then he got into no meat.
Yeah.
So you couldn't eat meat and being paid.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh wait a minute. Only a certain amount. I gotta tell you one story. I gotta tell you, George Clinton.
Yeah, I do.
He came in with a bucket of chicken and no one said nothing to George Clinton. And I think Shaka wasn't playing that either. If she wanted something, that wasn't gonna happen. I think she could probably call him Prince too. But anyway, though that was like the exception. Us though, we had to either smuggle it in, tour. So anyway, I gotta wrap it up.
I'm gonna wrap it up here. So
brilliant.
Pass this on here.
Did y'all come to party tonight? Yeah! 2, 3, come on! Let's jam, y'all. We got old school in here tonight, I see ya. What's the word? Days, stormy nights, no love, no hope inside. Don't you cry, the year's coming. Don't die without knowing the cross. Ghetto to the left of us, flowers to the right. There will be bread for all of us if we can just bear the cross. Do you believe it? Let me hear you say yeah. Somebody let me hear you say yeah. Let me hear you say oh yeah. Let me hear you say oh yeah.
All right, wait a minute. Special treat for you.
Rain is
Yes,
light,
that looks like. Something's Jimmy earlier on.
sugar is sweet.
I just can't. Hey, sounds like.
Stomp your feet. Everybody knows. When love calls, you got to go. I love it when you smile. I love it. I love was meant to love to remember poetry and laughter in deep, deep December. Like a dream within a dream, you were caught between heaven and earth. So we drove to one and reached you along there. All I had are these memories that keep flying. They carry me through the long starless night. Magic is gone. It's springtime, it's heaven where your light will forever shine, shine, shine. But here on earth, an angel left an indelible mark on his heart. You gave me wings to fly. I gave you songs to sing. I gave PRN Alumni Foundation. So please buy a plate, because today is a special day. It's Christmas Day, and we're so honored to be here. I'm so happy that you guys all showed up. I love you all. Thank you. Now let's have fun.
On the keys, ladies and gentlemen, Renato Paris.